Sometimes darkness creeps in quietly. You wake up one day and everything feels heavy, colorless, distant. That was my world in my second year of college. Exams, uncertainty, feeling invisible in a crowd. I drifted through days, wearing a smile that never reached my eyes. Inside, I was lost, unable to explain the ache or the emptiness. I withdrew from friends and family, convinced no one could see my struggle. Solitude became my companion, feeding me doubts and convincing me the fog would never lift. The world outside felt too bright, too alive for someone like me. I thought I was alone in my darkness. But life has a way of sending small sparks of hope. There are people who notice the dimming of your light even when you try to hide it. They don't always need words to understand. They wait, ready to share their warmth. I didn't know it then, but I was about to meet my light bringers. Sometimes, the smallest gestures can break through the heaviest shadows. Even when you feel invisible, someone is quietly watching, ready to help. The darkness is never as complete as it seems. All it takes is a little light to remind you you're not alone. And that's where my story truly begins. It was a Tuesday in Professor Verma's history class. I sat at the back, lost in my thoughts, barely hearing his words. As the class emptied, he called my name. "Rohan, a moment please." My heart raced. I thought I was in trouble. But he just looked at me and asked, "Is everything all right? You seem a little lost." No one had asked me that, not with real concern. His question broke through my walls. I couldn't speak, just shook my head. He didn't press, just nodded and said, "It's okay not to be okay. Life has winters, but spring always follows." He handed me a book of poems. "Read this when you can. Sometimes others' words help us find our own." That simple act, his kindness, his attention, was the first ray of light in my darkness. It didn't fix everything, but it made me feel seen. Sometimes all it takes is one person noticing, one gentle question, to remind you you're not alone. Professor Verma's words stayed with me. They were a lifeline when I needed it most. I realized that even small gestures can have a huge impact. You never know when your kindness will be someone's turning point. That day, I started to believe that maybe things could get better. The darkness began to crack, and hope, however faint, found its way in. My roommate Samir was my opposite, loud, cheerful, always surrounded by friends. I thought he didn't notice my silence, but he did. He never asked questions or offered advice, he just stayed. When I skipped dinner, he brought me food, mumbling, "Mommy says you shouldn't skip meals." When I lay in bed all day, he'd put on our favorite movie and let it play in the background. He created space for me, without pressure or expectation. One evening, seeing me at my lowest, he grabbed his cricket bat. "Chal, let's go to the ground. You just stand there. I'll bowl." We played in silence, the thwack of the ball breaking through my numbness. He didn't force me to talk, he just let me be. That hour on the field made the weight on my chest a little lighter. Samir's friendship wasn't about grand gestures. It was about quiet, steady presence. He showed me that support doesn't always need words. Sometimes just showing up is enough. His silent companionship was a pillar of strength. He reminded me I wasn't invisible. In my darkness, he held a small lamp, and that made all the difference. Why did these small acts matter so much? Because when you're in the dark, your world shrinks and you feel alone. Professor Verma's question and Samir's quiet presence shattered that illusion. Their kindness was a bridge back to the world, and to myself. They offered help with no expectation, just genuine care. That selfless kindness rebuilt my faith in people. It planted a seed of hope in my sadness. I learned that everyone is fighting a battle you can't see. A smile can hide pain. Silence can be a cry for help. Now I look beyond the surface and listen to the silences. A simple gesture can change someone's day or life. I'm grateful for the teacher who showed me vulnerability isn't weakness. I'm grateful for the friend who taught me the power of presence. Their light became a part of me, a warmth I carry always. Even in darkness, kindness leaves a lasting echo. The greatest lesson I learned is that we can all be light bringers. You don't need all the answers, just a willingness to care. A simple, "Are you okay?" or sitting in silence can create ripples of hope. Now, I try to pay it forward. asking, listening, inviting others in. I may not solve their problems, but I can offer the gift I received, the reassurance that they are seen. Kindness can be the turning point for someone. We're all connected, and our small flames matter. Let's thank the light bringers in our lives and become one for others. Never underestimate the power of your own small flame. When we share our light, we brighten the world. And that's a beautiful thing. Even in the darkest times, a little kindness can change everything. Be the light for someone else.